Good afternoon, my dear students. Welcome back to the marketing management class. So, in today's class, we are going to discuss about the difference between micro environment and macro environment. In the earlier classes, I have clearly and in detail, I have explained you both the micro environment and macro environmental factors, right? So that was the 14 marks question, and the difference between micro environment and macro environment also is asked in one of the previous year question papers for 14 marks. So I am going to explain you the difference between these two. All of you listen carefully. Now, coming to the first point, let us see the definition. See, the micro environment is basically an internal or nearby environment of a company in which it operates. See, micro environment means, as you all know, it is related to the internal or nearby components. Nearby component means your suppliers are nearby to you, your investors are nearby to you, right? So, they are called as the nearby environment factors of a company in which it operates. Whereas coming to the macro environment, it is considered as an external or general environment of the company. So, as I told you, it is external and it is in general of the company that can create an impact on the working of the whole business of the company. So, it has a major impact on the entire business of the company. Coming to the second point, elements of factors. See, in micro environment, you have seen the main elements of micro environmental factors, right? They are such as customers, suppliers, media, public, employees, investors or shareholders, competitors. All these are the main elements of the micro environment. Whereas the elements of macro environment are, as you have studied, demographic, economic environment, natural environment, socio-cultural environment, technological, political, legal. So these are the factors of macro environment. Coming to the third point, elements of nature. See, the nature of element of the micro environment is less complex and more specific, generally industry specific factors. So, the elements of micro environment is less complicated. You do not have much confusion or complications are less, and they are more specific. You can generalize very specifically and you can know about the factors very well, and generally industrial specific factors. So the factors of the micro environment are related to the industry, such as see, suppliers relate to the industry, shareholders, competitors, employees. All these are the related factors of the industry, and you have less complications here because you know how they can be controlled, and since it is related to the internal atmosphere of the company. Whereas coming to the macro environment, elements are more complex and general, more of regional, national or global. See, the macro environment factors are related to demographic, natural, socio-cultural, technological, political and legal, right? So, they are very complicated. You don't know when the political conditions will be changing or what are the changes which happen in the legal complications of the company, and how there is advancement in the technological factor, or how there is the economic condition of the country is changing. So you to analyze it is very difficult. That is why the elements of macro environment are very complex and general, and they are not of only one state or nation. It is related to global implications. So these are the three differences between micro and macro environment. Let's move on to the next topics. The fourth point is influence on organization. See, the micro environment, it has a direct and regular impact on marketing decisions and also remains independent. So, Since it is related to the internal and nearby factors, it will have a direct and regular impact on the business. Whereas coming to the macro, it creates an indirect impact on marketing decision up to a great extent. So, it will have an indirect impact. For example, if there is any rules and regulations changed due to political and legal system in exporting, tariffs, taxes and all, so it will have a major indirect impact on the business, because the business cannot have any control on these rules, regulations and law of the company, and they have to just follow whatever is directed by the government. Coming to the next point, activities of a marketer. See, the interaction of marketers with different functions within the organization. So, in microenvironment, the interaction with the marketers is within different functional heads, that is between the marketing department head, production department head, research and development department, finance department, purchases department, HR department. So, the decisions and the interaction takes place between the different functional heads of the organization. Whereas coming to the macro environment, the interaction of marketers is with other elements that are outside to organization. So, they have to interact with the society, they have to interact with the legal people, then they have to interact with the government and technological changes. So, the interaction is outside the organization. Coming to the next point, marketing control. See, coming to the micro environment factors, it is a controllable factors by marketers. Whereas the macro environment, it is uncontrollable factors that are beyond the control of marketer. The marketer cannot do anything here. He has to just obey the rules and regulations, and he has to accept the challenges in the atmosphere, and he has to be competitive and challenging to face the changes which is happening in the outside world, and he cannot have any control on these factor. Coming to the last point, functioning. See, the factors may function in the form of strength and weakness of an organization. See, there will be a SWOT analysis. All of you have heard about this, no? SWOT, SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis means S means strength, W means weakness, O means opportunities, T means threats. So, the business has to analyze itself in the form of SWOT analysis. The business has to find out its strengths, weaknesses, opportunities available and threats which it has to face in the business. So, once the SWOT analysis is done by the company, then the micro environment, the company focuses on the strengths and weaknesses of the company, whereas in the macro environment, the business has to focus on the opportunities available for it in the future and what are the threats, that is what are the problems it has to face in the future, and making themselves ready for the threats which they are going to face in the future, that is taking precautions and finding the solutions to face the problems which they are going to occur in the future. So, these are the differences between micro environment and macro environment. Okay students, as it is 14 marks question, I have explained you the 7 points for micro and 7 points for macro. Both carry 7, so 14 marks. So, if you study so much for difference between micro and macro environment, that is sufficient. Nothing much to study. I think we have completed with unit 2. It is a small chapter. Whatever the questions which is asked in the previous year question paper and whatever is related to your syllabus, whatever the topics which are given in the syllabus, I have tried to complete everything. So, in the coming classes, I will be sharing you the PDF notes and previous year question papers. All of you go through the notes with the question papers and your syllabus. If any topic is left over or you find any question in the previous year question paper related to unit 2 which is not explained, you can let me know. Then we can move on to the next unit 3. Okay. Thank you everyone.